Hello there and welcome to No Nonsense Metal Reviews with me, George, and today's review is an album from one of my favourite bands, a band that has, to a lesser or greater extent, pretty much circumnavigated all the subgenres of metal, going from groove, kind of nu metal, through to thrash and death metal, sort of grinding craziness at times. A band that is headed by one of the big names, by one of the legendary figures in metal music, none other than Brazilian god that he is, Max Cavalera, formerly of Sepultura and currently of a whole host of bands. But I am, of course, talking about the mighty Soulfly here, one of my favourites. Got their logo tattooed on. That's some dedication, I suppose. The mighty Soulfly with their killer new album, Totem. There's brilliant artwork on there, and this is an absolutely superb album. I really like the direction that the band have been going in lately, over the last few albums, certainly with Ritual, Archangel. It's very heavy music, definitely. Certainly more of a combination of sort of groove, thrash, and death metal. Plenty of great riffs to get on board with and to headbang along to. But it's also very atmospheric, it's very spiritual, it's very deep and emotive. There's a lot of atmosphere there. It's not just 40 minutes of brutal chugging and windmilling delight. There's so much more to it than that. And this album, I think, is an absolute stormer. Brilliant production on the album. The album's actually produced by the lead guitarist here, Arthur Rizk, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. In the band, we also have, alongside Max on vocals and guitars, we have his son, Zion Cavalera, and he is an absolute machine behind the drums. He is a phenomenal drummer, absolutely fantastic. I think when I first heard, however long ago it was, that his son Zion was going to be drumming for the band, I'd never heard him drum before in any of his other bands or the other acts he's associated with. I kind of thought, is that a bit of a, sort of in the back door, bit of a, it's more who you know than what you know sort of thing. That's not at all the case. This guy has the credentials, he has the talent. He is an absolutely brilliant drummer. He is killing it on this album, absolutely. On bass we have Mike Leon as well. A really solid bunch of musicians, and it really shows here because this is, as I say, I think it's just over 40 minutes long, thereabouts. Absolutely killer. Let's take a look at some of the tracks here. There's the track list, hope you can see clear enough. Kicking off the album with a little bit of a Hatebreed kind of aggressive vibe there. We've got the Mighty Superstition, really heavy track, plenty of great thundering riffs, plenty of iconic vocal moments there from Max, such a distinctive voice in this heavy music world that we love. Scouring the Vial, little bit of an old school death metal vibe. We've got guest vocal contributions here from Obituary legend vocalist John Tardy, and he does a superb job here, absolutely. But what I like about this track, Scouring the Vial, is that they haven't just written an old school death metal song to suit John's vocals. It's got a bit of an old school death metal vibe, definitely, but it's a heavy, groovy number. It's definitely a Soulfly track, not an Obituary track. Really great one though. Filth Upon Filth and Rot in Pain. Brilliant, crunchy, heavy tracks, really nasty stuff, just really killer. Pretty much void at this stage in their career of any sort of nu metal signs, but you get a lot of great grooves, certainly with The Damage Done, when that song kicks in, it is just an absolute chug fest. These huge chugging riffs, absolutely monstrous, and it just sounds absolutely fantastic. You can really head bang along to that number, 100%. Totem, the title track, really great song, very heavy, lots of great atmospherics and a lot of different elements thrown in there to give it a really big sound. Just a really great song. Ancestors and Ecstasy of Gold, again, really killer, really heavy. The riffs are great. The drumming is absolutely phenomenal. Keeping the Soulfly tradition, we have a track here, Soulfly 12, an instrumental piece, which is a really beautiful instrumental. It's not a song to skip, you know, it's not a heavy track, no, but it's got plenty of soul there. It's a very spiritual piece, it's very atmospheric, it sounds lovely. It reminds me of the sort of technical death metal, atmospheric metal band Fallujah, where they incorporate a lot of great soundscapes and it's very emotive stuff. That's definitely what we've got here on Soulfly 12. The real standout moment though, and these are all great tracks, it's not a bad track, not a subpar track at all, but that closing track there, Spirit Animal, it's over 9 minutes long and it is an absolute stormer. Again, it's a very spiritual song, it's very deep, atmospheric, but it is very tribal. We get a lot of very tribal moments here throughout this album, but certainly on this track. And I say tribal, I'll explain a little bit. It's got, I know, Brazilian percussion involved there, and it sounds like it could easily have spawned in the sort of roots, bloody roots era of Sepultura, or the early, say, any time of the first 4 Soulfly albums, where it was very organic but very tribal in its sound. If you know Soulfly's catalogue and Sepultura's catalogue, the early years with Max, you'll know exactly where I'm coming from there when I say it's a very tribal piece. And it's an absolute stormer. It's heavy. You've got some guest vocals, sort of clean vocals from, just remind myself of this chap's name, Hornsman Coyote. Never heard of this guy before. It does sound vaguely familiar. I don't know if he's worked with Sepultura, less Sepultura, probably more Soulfly in the past. But yeah, and Max's son, Richie Cavalera, also provides additional vocals on that track, Spirit Animal, as well. And it sounds brilliant. It's a really good song. It's longer, but it doesn't seem like a protracted, unnecessarily long song by any means. It's a really heavy piece, very groovy, very crunchy, very good stuff. Absolutely love it. I think this is definitely going to be in my top 10 of the year. If you want to just listen to some superb, heavy, kind of more death metal, thrash metal, that kind of very heavy side of the extreme metal world, if you want to hear something like that with plenty of groove, plenty of exceptionally crunchy riffs to really get on board with, then this is an album not to be missed. And previous fans of Soulfly are definitely going to love this album. It's heavy, it's got everything we want. It's Max Cavalera and company at their best, on top form. So there we have it. Soulfly, Totem, an album not to be missed. Let me know what you think of the album. I'm interested to see how other fans are receiving this fine, splendid piece of work. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video and the review, then please feel free to like or subscribe. And check back soon, of course, for more reviews and more words of all things heavy. Take care, my friends. Stay metal.